Hi, Divyesh.
Hi, Shruti. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So, thank you for taking out the time for this conversation.
No worries. My pleasure.
And this conversation is actually, for the applicants who are planning to take up this journey, and you've already been there, done that. So, want to hear your thoughts about how it has been for you and what are the best ways forward that you would suggest. So, taking this discussion forward, please share your work experience, your profile, and the school that you are headed to.
So, so I'll just start off with my background. I have graduated from VIT Vellore in computer science engineering with specialization in bioinformatics. And from there on, I went on to work in a pharmaceutical company as a data analyst. And I have been doing that for the last 3 years. I am currently working in the same company called Endpoint Clinical in the pharmaceutical sector in the data management space. So I work as a data analyst there, and I will be joining IIM Udaipur for their digital enterprise management program, which is a 1 year program. Uh, so yeah, that is my background, and this is the college I'm going to be joining this year.
Great. So, Divyesh, when you were choosing the MBA programs, what were the criteria that were important for you?
So for me, there were two criterias which were very important for me. One was the college, the cohort. The MBA is only relevant as the people who are in the cohort. So when you have a diverse background of people in the cohort, the learning becomes even more interesting, and the outcome of the MBA becomes enriched by the cohort's experience and their background. So that was one criteria. And the other criteria that I had was I was looking more into 1 year programs because I already had experience of 3+ years. That is where Shruti ma'am and GOALisB helped me in navigating through this and finding out programs relevant to my skill set and my goals.
Correct. And what about the GRE preparation? You have written the GRE, and being a working professional, how should someone go about it?
So I have given my GRE, not my GMAT. Choosing between GRE and GMAT would be the first task the candidate would be put in, because so both the tests are completely different yet similar in terms of the learning journeys that they have. So the candidate needs to be sure about which exam they are going to take on, and that would be the biggest challenge for me. Then I chose GRE. Um, and in studying for GRE, I took 3 months. Initially, I thought 3 months would be sufficient for me to go about and complete the syllabus for the GRE exam, and that's how I started my preparations back in the month of April or May. And I gave my first attempt of GRE in the August of 2023. So with 3 years of 3 months of studying, I scored a 308 on my GRE. And I studied with the help of the Magoosh program, which is their 1 month. They have various programs, which is for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. They have the curriculum set for those particular months. I took the 3 month program, and I have taken the help from Magoosh. But then after that, I thought that my score was not up to the mark, and I thought of giving a try again. And I came across this online tutor called as gmat. He does both GRE and GMAT preparations, and I felt that the gmat was more efficient in teaching the concepts, and they also have one-on-one teaching programs in case if the students have any doubt. So I felt it was more personalized than Magoosh. So these two programs helped me study for my GRE. But I feel that it depends on the candidate who is choosing the exam and which exam they're choosing, and how much time will it take for them to prepare. I would say ideally 3 to 6 months would be an ideal time for somebody to prepare for a GRE or a GMAT. If you're working, then it might also take a little more time for you, because depends on how much time do you spare. So I ideally used to spend uh, 3 to 4 hours in a day, and on weekends I would uh, say around 5 to 6 hours on the weekends, on Saturdays and Sundays, because I had a holiday on Saturday and Sunday. So that was my ideal study program plan that I have customized for myself, but it depends on the candidate and their availability for studying. This is my experience on the studying for GRE.
When you come to the IIM Udaipur's application, they have a very unique aspect of application which actually no Indian school has as of now, right? The
Yes,
video essay.
yes, yes,
And it's
videos.
very different from writing the essays to, getting onto the video essay. How was your experience of going about on that video essay?
Like you mentioned, it is one of the very different applications that we have in India. Like none of the other colleges have a video application, video essays. So while we going for other colleges, we have a written essay. But for the IIM Udaipur's, especially the DEM and the GSM program, you have a specific video essay. So with the essay, that written essays, you can structure it, you can have a longer sentences, you can use vocabulary. When it comes to a video essay, you will always have to be very straightforward. Your sentences has to be crisp, your because you can't be talking longer sentences in a video. The timeline that is set for the video application is also just under 2 minutes. You have to make your essay very crisp, selling your story from the beginning to till the capturing your strengths, weaknesses, your background, your professional journey, and all of the other things like the normal essays. But then the difference only comes when you have to speak it. So the sentences framing and the length of the sentences, it has to be very short and crisp. So that is where Shruti ma'am and Goal at ISB had helped me. We went around with more than 3 iterations for the video essay, where the first task was to identify the strengths, weaknesses, and build your own story. So, ma'am had given me the task of finding out the strengths, weaknesses, and jot down those points and give the bullet points for those in the first draft. Then, after the first draft, ma'am went ahead and went through the bullet points and the key points that I had given to ma'am. And then the second draft was to create like a story or a paragraph for different like say your introduction, your strengths, your weaknesses, your professional backgrounds. It's a complete story. So we segregated into smaller paragraphs, and then we worked on that in the second iteration of the video essay. And then the third iteration was to make it into a continuous story kind, where when you record the video, it doesn't sound very different. The paragraphs are not independent of each other, and they have a continuous flow of ideas from the first paragraph to the second and rest of the video essay. The last draft also took two iterations, I guess, where we few points. There was a mutual discussion, mutual agreement that I didn't like it or ma'am was not okay with what I had the point. So we drafted the essay in such a way that my story was important, and ma'am made sure that the essay was a very smooth, and it was flowing from one paragraph to the other. That is the whole point of the video essay. And when it comes to recording, I had recorded a video for the first time and I sent it for ma'am's approval. So ma'am had guided me very well, saying that your body language was a little underconfident, or your eye contact was not with the camera. And I was also looking at some stuff while recording the video. So ma'am gave me suggestions that you don't have to like look into something. You can have to make eye contact with the camera, and your body language has to be a certain way. And then you have to keep your smile on to the entire 2 minutes of the recording. So that is where ma'am's input also helps. So that video recording also had kind of 2 or 3 iterations with that. So I had recorded at least 2 times, I remember. So ma'am had sent suggestions on the second one, third one. So I think the third one was our final essay that we completed, and ma'am approved, and even I was happy with it. That was the video that we had sent it and the application. That is the whole process of IIM Udaipur's DEM application.
It looks as if it is just a 1.5 to 2 minutes long video, so much work going behind it.
Yeah, with all of the essays, but particularly with the video essay, you also have iterations, because when you record it, your body language is different, or your attitude, or your like speaking language is very different. So then it comes down to making iteration, making changes. And also it has to, otherwise you have to edit the videos and it doesn't look good if you're cutting in between and then merging the videos and stuff. So it also has to be in one go. So that is also like an issue people might face. I had to record more than 2 or 3 times to get that right in a single take. So yeah, but ma'am was very helpful with it, and we had many iterations with the essays and the videos. But finally, it happened, and it was the one which was selected as well, like the last one, the last iteration.
Correct. And what was the interview experience like? And what is a good prep for the interview?
I got my interview selection call one day before my interview was scheduled on. So again, ma'am and her team at GOALisB was very helpful for me. They have mock interviews set up where they train you on the important aspects of the program's interview. That particular colleges speak about your profile and your background, and few colleges talk about guesstimates and other few puzzle solving questions. That is where I got to know the areas that were more important in IIM Udaipur's interview, so that were more related to my background, my strengths and weaknesses, and more related to few general topics about like general knowledge related questions regarding your general chief ministers, prime ministers, this all the ministers and the states, capitals, and few other important guesstimate questions and all those stuff, because those are the primary questions that are frequently asked in the IIM Udaipur's interview questions. Ma'am had sent me few links for the interview prep guide, which they have curated for the students, where I went through a list of around 30 or 35 videos that were previously recorded by ma'am and her team. So that gave me an idea of how to structure the question answers to the questions that were asked. So they had given few bullet points and do's and do nots to do's and don'ts for the answer, for how to answer the questions, and that was very helpful for me. And coming to the interview aspect of the program, so my interview was mainly focused around my background, my work experience, and questions regarding why do you want to do an MBA, or why particularly this program of digital enterprise management at IIM Udaipur, and also a few questions on hobbies and interests and stuff like that. It was a short and crisp interview for around 25 to 30 minutes, not more than that. And in that interview, more than 50 to 60% of the time was dedicated towards my background and my work experience. So majority of the questions were from my work experience and my domain and my industry that I'm currently working in, and how I would be a good fit for the MBA program. That program is a very niche program. It is a program in digital enterprise management, and how I fit into the cohort was also checked in this based on my work experience. So there were questions were in those aspects as well. And the rest of the 40 to 40% of the questions were regarding the interest. Why would you want to do an MBA? And why particularly IIM Udaipur, and such questions. Overall, in 25 to 30 minutes, I think they gauge the candidate based on all the aspects. Overall, everything is counted in the interview. It's not like only the work experience matter. It depends on the panelists also. So in my case, I was interviewed by panel members who were more inclined in asking about my personal my professional experience, but there might be panelists who might ask other questions as well. So we will have to be prepared for all aspects of questionings. Ma'am and her team was very helpful, because they had already, as I mentioned earlier, they had given us the uh, areas, and they also shared with us the video recordings of the bullet points of do's and don'ts. The mock interview was very helpful for me as well. So in the mock interviews, the questions were asked So it was like a proper interview setup where the interviewer asked the questions regarding all the areas, and then based on my answers, after each answer, the ma'am's team helped me to frame better sentences, to give more crisper answers, and to make sure that I have those bullet points ready with me to answer questions whenever the questions were thrown at me. So those bullet points and those inputs were very helpful. And also I took it as an opportunity to ask other questions that were relevant. So if I had any questions, I was able to ask, and the team and ma'am were very helpful to give me a few bullet points to say, and they also gave me points to say that you can say this but you can't say that in the interview. And that was very helpful, because if I would have said some other points which were not very relevant, and then it would have played a negative impact on the interview. So that is also another important aspect where the team and ma'am helped me, because they gave very crisp bullet points to say that you can talk more on these points and not on these points, and you can leave these points because it's not very relevant to you, or not very relevant to from your background perspective. So that was very helpful. I am not able to frame this sentence, so that is where ma'am jumped in, and she was like, yeah, she gave me few pointers to say that this is this, you can frame it like this. And she gave me a few bullet points on how to uh, put forward my point. So that is also, so ma'am was there for me till the end, like almost an hour prior to the interview. Ma'am was there with me on WhatsApp and on calls to guide me and to just give me motivation that I would be able to crack the interview.
For the people who are just starting off on this journey about, so they're planning to write their GMAT or GRE, and they have certain questions in mind. So what would be some things that you would like to share with them as do's and don'ts for their MBA application process?
Sure. Your GRE and GMAT plays a very important role in the preparation. The first task, as I also mentioned earlier, is that to choose the exam wisely. So there are a lot of colleges in India, particularly because I was choosing for colleges in only in India and not abroad. So there are limited opportunities for people who are going with the GRE exam, because not many colleges, because GRE and GMAT is just starting in India. So there are lot lesser colleges with GRE when compared to GMAT. The candidate himself or herself has to choose wisely which exam they would want to
Okay.
write, because GMAT has a lot more options and lot more colleges to like the score is accepted widely by a lot more colleges than GRE. So that is one aspect that I would urge the candidate to look into. Once you have decided, I think stick on to the exam that you have chosen, and then prepare very well with that. So take your time. So start preparation well in advance. So in my case, I thought I would be able to complete in 3 months, but then I had to try for the second attempt as well. Take a little longer time in the beginning itself than to give two attempts. It is strenuous to give more than one attempt. It is becomes very strenuous, and also not very economical, because the exams is also very expensive. Take the preparation time wisely. You can, if you're a working professional, take 3 months extra if you want, but then prepare well in advance. And I would say choose your study partner, like the Magoosh or some other GRE test prep tutors. The tutor is more important when it comes to prep, because we as working professionals are not 24/7 studying. We also have a work to do. If there is somebody who is able to curate us and give us inputs to study in a particular direction and gives us the direction, it would be very easy for working professionals. That is where your tutor comes in picture. So choose that wisely. If somebody is going for GRE preparation, I would highly suggest the gmat, the online website. They also have one-on-one in coaching. They have like a very well, especially in terms when it comes to vocabulary, because we as Indians are not well versed with the vocabulary of the uh, the test. So the GregMat has a very good program called as the Vocabulary Mountain. They have divided each day into 30 new words and stuff like that. So that keeps on building up as you progress through the entire journey, say 1 month, 2 months, 3 months of your prep. So that is one aspect of your that the candidate has to consider. And the other aspect the candidate has to consider is that they also they need to balance out their previous background. So when it background in terms of your marks, if your marks were lower in your 10th, 12th, or your graduation, you will have to match up that in your test scores. If you did not have a lot of extracurricular, or if you did not have a lot of other facets in your profile, then it is the right time for you to start building on that as well. So maybe you can join an NGO. She also gave me an input to work on a program where I worked for a NGO there online. All those aspects also have to be taken care, because all these programs are not just based on your marks and your test scores. This is a very holistic profile. So you will also have to consider your extracurricular as well. So like in my case, I was also a lot into conducting a lot of events in college as well. Even in my professional experience, I was handling a lot of team meetings and all those things. And in my personal life also, I was like a lot into coordinating and planning. So that was my strength. I played to with where ma'am gave her inputs also, as well. So those kind of things also have to be kept in consideration. Your extracurricular also plays a lot plays a major role in your application. So that is another aspect that I would urge the candidates to look into. So these two things are very important: your test and your extracurricular and your overall profile building. It helps you. If your score is a little less, this profile building will help you pull your overall application to the next level. So that is also very important. So these two are the primary things that I consider, I would urge the candidates to look into. So I would like to tell the candidates who are applying for the colleges and who are looking for MBA consultants. Firstly, I would ask them to look for consultants or MBA consultants who are adaptable and who are flexible, like ma'am, Shruti ma'am and her team. Because once your scores come in, or once, so you start with the consultant way before you give your test, or in some cases afterwards. But in my case, I gave the test after I met ma'am and I joined the ma'am's program. The team has to be very flexible and adaptable with your score as well. So they have to choose the consultant who's more willing to adapt based on your profile and your experience, and gives their suggestions, say that, so this is your score and we can maybe try, and this is more achievable school for college for you. So in that sense, it doesn't let your morale go down, and it also helps you stay a little positive and stay a little motivated. Because if you're not if the consultant or if the program is not very adaptable based on your program, and if they give suggestions which are not achievable by your score and your profile, then it gives you a little, it just demotivates you. So that is where ma'am's team and Shruti ma'am comes in picture, and her team also. So they always were very adaptable with my so when my scores came in and a little were a little on the lower side, so she gave different suggestions. So she came up with different colleges, she researched on colleges, and she came back with list of 4 or 5 colleges that were suited for my background and my according to my liking. So that is one very important consideration that somebody has to keep in mind. How okay are they with taking a lot of helping you build your profile. So ma'am was very much okay with giving so many suggestions, and I was also asking a lot of suggestions to her as to I'm doing this, what else can I add to my profile to enhance my overall profile. So ma'am was there to give me suggestions that you can do this, don't overdo on this aspects, and you can do less here and you can do more over on those. So it depends on your profile, but somebody who's able to more mold as per your profile and as per your liking. So in my case, I told ma'am that I am more interested in doing like XYZ skills. So she was like, okay, maybe you can do this in your extracurriculars so that it will enhance your strengths and it might play a better role in your overall application. So that is the second thing that you need to look into when you're choosing the MBA consultants, or somebody who is just starting in this whole process, because it can be very strenuous for somebody who is getting started. And I faced a lot of issues before I came to ma'am. I was very confused which colleges to target, what would be an ideal score, what would not be a ideal score, what is the other aspects of the profile that are important. So that is where somebody like ma'am and her team comes in picture. So yeah, those are the few points that I would ask somebody to look into before you start off in this journey.